This is 101.8 Branch FM Radio for Life. Today I'm speaking to Paul Calvert, who we have his interviews on the Breakfast Show on Branch FM on Mondays. It's great to speak to you again, Paul.
Yeah, good morning. Or good afternoon, I should be saying.
Right, yeah, so I guess, oh yeah, yeah, so it's morning. Yes, it's morning where you are, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
no, we're 2 hours ahead, so it's actually afternoon.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, 2 hours ahead. I was thinking 2 hours behind. No, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're going to talk about a few things, bit of a Christmas related interview, and maybe, well, we'll see how we go. Um, I mean, can I ask first of all? No, I'm trying to. Do, you don't live in Bethlehem, do you?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you
I
do.
live about 5 minutes away from where Jesus was born.
Wow. So, have you been to the Church of the Nativity then, that is believed to be the site of where Jesus was born?
Yes, every time I leave my house, I basically walk past there because I've got to go up 300 steps down a side road, and then we're right into Manger Square. So Nativity Church is right there. So I've been in
Yeah.
quite a number of times in there. There's actually three denominations in there. There's the I'm sorry, what's the word? We've got the Armenian, we've got the Catholic, and we've got the Orthodox. So there's like three different churches in one. So you would think it's one church, but it's actually three different churches in there.
Right. Okay. So, Bethlehem, could you, I mean, just describe a little bit about what it's like?
Bethlehem is a beautiful city. It's probably one of the best cities. It's actually in the Palestinian Authority. So although we're in Israel, there are Palestinian Authority cities, and Bethlehem, Jericho, Nablus, Hebron. These are all Palestinian cities as well. So Bethlehem is a Palestinian city. So it is an area where Jews aren't allowed to go to. So it's full of Palestinian Arabs here. We're surrounded by fence and a wall, which makes it very difficult because Palestinians can't go out to work unless they have permission. So over the last 2 years with the war, for instance, it's been very, very difficult. Not everyone's been able to work. And of course, with the war as well, Bethlehem is built on tourism. So we've lost all the tourist trade. So a lot of people have lost their jobs. So it's been a very, very difficult place to be over the last few years. But hope is coming back because Christmas is coming back. So they've started to build the Christmas tree. So the Christmas tree is all but built now. So it's looking very, very nice. And then next week we will have the lighting of the Bethlehem Christmas tree. So I think there's a bit of excitement in the air. My friend who is Muslim, he said, "Oh, I'm excited because Christmas is back and all this other stuff." And as a Muslim, he's excited because he loves this time of the year, and it is
Mm.
a great time of the year.
So you have friends who are Muslim, Christian,
Yeah.
Jew. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We don't
You
have
know,
Jews here in
well,
Bethlehem,
not Jews, I
but we
mean,
do
yeah,
have Jews outside
yeah.
in Jerusalem. So as soon as you get past the checkpoint, you're virtually basically into Jerusalem because you're getting into the suburbs and you're in, there's the industrial area down there. And it's about 7 kilometers from the checkpoint right into the center of Jerusalem. So it's really not far at all.
Mm. So Muslims there celebrate Christmas with you, or like having Christmas there, the Christmas tree and things like that.
Yeah, I think they do. I've never really spoken deep to them. I saw a video of Muslims trying to burn a Christmas tree in another country. So I imagine, and I think some Muslims did come from Hebron. Now, Hebron is more religious, Islamically religious. And I think they did try to come and burn the Christmas tree here in Bethlehem a few years ago. So I think in general, everybody here lives here side by side and it's okay. But if you get Muslims coming from out, they may be a little bit more upset about it. They may say, "Oh, you're worshiping a Christmas tree, and not really quite understand, or it's an idol or something like this," which it isn't. It's just part of a celebration, and it's just there. So, but I think in general, a lot of Muslims here in Bethlehem really do like Christmas and enjoy it. And if you go to Manger Square, you'll see them taking selfies with the Christmas tree and their family, because it's just a magical time of the year. They maybe don't agree theologically with us, but they will embrace just the celebration here. And I'm sure there'll be lots of Muslims coming to the event when they light it. And actually, it's the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority who comes to light the Bethlehem Christmas tree. And of course, he is a Muslim. But it is the law for Bethlehem, for the mayor of Bethlehem, to be a Christian.
Is
So
it? Right.
that's
Okay.
a really good rule because it is the capital of Christmas. And I think it's
Mm.
important to preserve the Christian community and the Christian heritage here. So you really need a Christian mayor to help to do that.
So I mean, is there quite a lot of Christians in Bethlehem?
Bethlehem is losing its Christian population. It's gone down and down over the years. And I think even with the war, more and more people have left. I have friends that I know were here, and now they've gone to live in another country. So it is depleting. We've got Bethlehem, Bejala, and Betzahor as three major cities here. And you don't know which is one into the other. It's all sort of runs into each other. And if I'm right, I'm not sure that I'm right, but I think Bejala's 80% Christian, Betzahor's 80% Christian, but I think Bethlehem is about 27% Christian.
Right.
There's a small evangelical community, but even the Orthodox community don't like the evangelical community. So sometimes if you're a real born again Christian, you feel like the Muslims are against you, you feel like the Jews are against you, then you feel like the Orthodox Christians are against you as well. So it can be very, very difficult here for the Christian community if they live here. And then, of course, with the war and the loss of jobs, it's been very difficult to find a job as well.
I mean, I guess not recently, but do you normally have, people coming in to Bethlehem, from places abroad, just for Christmas?
Yeah, people do come for Christmas because it's a great time, great celebration. So they'll come for the lighting of the Christmas tree. And then on the 24th of December, it is a great celebration here in Bethlehem as well. So we actually get lots of scout troops come from the whole community in the whole area, and they march through Star Street. And what they're doing basically is they're bringing in the big cheese, as it were, the big. I'm trying to think of the name, and I can't think of the name the big vicar, let's say,
Right. Okay.
he comes like the bishop or that type of thing. So
Yeah.
they march up the street with their musical instruments. So they have a lot of bagpipes. A lot of them play bagpipes, drums, trumpets, all them sort of things, and they just march up the streets and just celebrate and have a really, really happy time. Over the last 2 years, of course, that they've marched, but they haven't had the musical instruments. So the first year they marched with banners about the situation in Gaza. And then we had a nativity scene right in Manger Square, which was basically the nativity scene in the rubble. So they were making a very political statement about that. Then last year, they marched silently, but they blew whistles. And they blew whistles into Manger Square. So it's going to be really nice just to get back to the old tradition of all the musical instruments being played and coming in to Bethlehem. Not sure how big it's going to be this year because the peace deal has only sort of just been signed. So I imagine they get a lot of money every year from different governments to put on the lighting ceremony. And as it's last minute, I don't know, maybe they have this is me speculating that they've maybe had a bit of a rush to try and put everything together. But I know that in Manger Square, we normally have a lot of lighting and it doesn't look like that's been put up yet. So maybe it's going to be slightly more low key than it normally would be. And that's, again, I think people are a little bit sensitive as well about the situation in Gaza. So, but again, it's just getting back to that. I think it's going to be a great opportunity and a great time.
So you'll be there?
Yes, I'll be there watching the lighting of the Christmas tree. Usually they have a firework display afterwards as well. So I'll be there recording that. So it's just a joyful time. And a lot of people just go into Manger Square to see, and people are selling, and you have the balloons and, all these sort of things, little blow up Santa Clauses and all this sort of things, and food and everything. So just a very joyous and happy time.
So how tall is the Christmas tree?
Um, oh,
That's a question, sorry.
I maybe something like 20 meters.
Yeah,
It's not a real tree. They do build it and they put it together,
right.
and it looks like it's a new Christmas tree this year. So it's going to be nice this year. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else that happens there in
Um,
Bethlehem that we've missed around
we'll have the
Christmas?
Christmas market. So the Christmas
Yeah.
market is going to be on. We've just had the olive harvest celebrations in Bethlehem. So now we're going to have a Christmas market at some time. I don't know when that's going to be. In the past, we've had vehicles driving through the city, giving out candies to people, a big parade. with that. So that's been nice. One year we had a giant nativity scene. I think that was from Italy, and they had that right into Manger Square. And then they had one year we had Santa's Village right in Manger Square as well, with lots of fun inside. So these are things that we've done over the year. What we're going to have this year, maybe because it's last minute, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. But over the last few years, we've had quite a lot of celebration, and things go on over the weeks. But one thing we do have is we have 3 Christmases. So we'll have Christmas celebrations on the 24th. Then I think it's the 6th of January is the Orthodox Christmas. And then the Armenian Christmas is something like, I think it's the 18th is the day. So maybe the 17th is the March. So we do get 3 lots of marches, but it gets smaller and smaller as time progresses. So we do have 3 Christmases here in Bethlehem. So our Christmas tree doesn't come down very quickly. It stays up for quite a while.
So, I mean, how do you celebrate Christmas over there?
I basically take a week off and do absolutely nothing. And I'm going to my friends for Christmas. My best friend, his family always invite me to go to their house for Christmas, but he's in Budapest this year. But I just saw their family yesterday. I saw his father in Jerusalem as we were walking off the bus, and he said, "Oh, you must come for Christmas, come for Christmas." So we'll go there and we'll have a little bit of wine to drink. They have things like rice, stuffed vine leaves with little bits of rice and meat in it, stuffed vegetables. So we don't have the turkey or anything like that, and the Brussels sprouts, but we do have that. But I have my own stuff. I've already got my Brussels sprouts bought and they're in the freezer because there was one year we couldn't buy them here.
Oh
So
no.
I've got them already. And then probably tomorrow I will go and buy my meat for Christmas. So I'll probably buy pork because I'd rather have pork than turkey. So, and then I just have a time off and just watch great TV. I've got a Christmas tradition where I watch Are You Being Served? Because I started watching old Christmas classics. And I just so we'll make that into a Christmas tradition. And then now, over the last few years, I started a new Christmas tradition because I sort of felt like I'm just watching TV all day, every day, and it's a bit of a waste of time. So now well, the first year I'd done it, I started listening to a Christmas story. So I bought a Christmas story and listened to a little bit every day. And I just started cleaning my house. And I really, really enjoyed listening to this story and cleaning the house and getting rid of all the bits and pieces that you accumulate over the year. So that's maybe what I'll actually end up doing over the Christmas period this year as well. But it's something I enjoy doing. So, and I'm going to be writing the third part of my book this year as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us about that. Your book, The Trafalgar Square Christmas Tree.
Yeah, well, I
So when
started
did
writing. Sorry.
yes, no, yeah, no, that's what I was going to ask you. When did you start writing that?
Yeah, I started writing that in Christmas 2023. So that was the time of the year just after the terrorist attack on October the 7th. So this was a really difficult time for Israel with all those people that were killed. It was also difficult because people were sending their family, their children out to war. But it was also a difficult time for the Palestinians as well. Palestinians in Gaza, it was very difficult, but also for Palestinians here in Bethlehem as well, because we had no tree, we had no lights, and we had the nativity scene in the rubble and things like that. And they were seeing people killed in Gaza. So it was a very, very difficult time when I started writing this book. And I wrote all of it in Bethlehem except for one chapter. So it was all wrote in Bethlehem, the capital of Christmas, because this is the place where Jesus was born. So it's the capital of Christmas. So I wrote all the books. I wrote a chapter a day, and then I went to Jerusalem one day, and I was way too early. So I wrote a chapter in Jerusalem just outside Jaffa Gate while I'm waiting for all the shops and everything to open. But all the rest was written in Bethlehem. And then the year after, which was 2024, I wrote a second book. And I'd done exactly the same thing, wrote it over the Christmas period, wrote a chapter a day. It was all written in Bethlehem. But my friend Elias, who I spoke about earlier, he was wanting to put papers in to get this scholarship. So he wanted to go to Nablus for the day, to Ramallah for the day. So I said, well, I'll come with him. So I went with him, and then it absolutely poured down in rain. So I sat in the car while he went out and done all his paperwork and everything, and I wrote a chapter in the car. So it always seems to be that I write one chapter somewhere else. I don't know where I'm going to write my next chapter for this next book that I do this year, but it's a little bit of a follow-on. So the first one is the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree, and it's about a tree that has an ambition. You know, he's got this ambition to be the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree. So we join him on his ambition to be that Trafalgar Square Christmas tree. And it's important that we have a dream and we have a vision. You know, the Bible says without a vision, the people perish. So it's really important that each and every one of us, no matter how old we are, whether we're 5 years old or whether we're 90 years old, to have a dream and a vision in our hearts that something that we can achieve and something that we can do. Because it's always important just to encourage ourselves to say, I'm going to do something that I wouldn't normally really do. And I can always see God's sense of humor in everything that I do because I'm working in media. I work in radio, but I also write things for the websites as well. And I've written my books. Well, I'm absolutely awful at English. So, you know, I'm awful at English, I'm awful at grammar, although my books are good because they've all been checked out. But this is where God has led me and put me to. So, you know, working within my weakness. So it's exciting that God uses you in your weakness and he can put a dream and a vision in your heart to go out and do something like this. So I was really excited to get the first book finished. And then the Christmas after, I decided to do a second one, which is called The King's Christmas Pudding. So that's in production at the moment. So that's really all about a mix-up where the king orders a Christmas pudding and his Christmas pudding goes to the International Space Station and he gets a piece like a spring that's supposed to go to the International Space Station. So it's all about the mix-up that happened between these two parcels. So, and then we got a third one. We've got the ideas of what we're going to be doing with the third one as well. So it's just been exciting to write and fulfilling a dream and fulfilling that vision of writing. So, yeah.
Yeah, really good. So, so these are children's books, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be children's books. They probably aim for about 6 to 12 years of age. But I think there's even something for adults in there as well. Because we're all big kids at heart. So, you know, what would
Especially
be
at Christmas
really
time.
Yeah, what would be well? This is one of the things I actually like the Walt Disney type stuff. So I'm single and I have no kids, but I've all got the Walt Disney favorites like Bambi and Cinderella, and I like watching that type of stuff because I just like the romance of it all. And I write poems every week. I try to write a poem, just basically life at 50, life with my cat who's sitting right next to me, all the things that my cats do and stuff like that, and just life and things that happen in general, and sometimes maybe political stuff, that's things that are happening in the news. I do that and I try to write a poem every week, load it onto my Rumble channel. And then at Christmas time, I write a special Christmas poem and it's usually about my cat. So it's usually a story about a cat that has this tiny little adventure or something happens here or something happens there. So over the last 5 or 6 years, that's what I've been doing, writing these little tiny stories and putting them up onto Rumble. But of course, now we've got the big story because we've done the big book. So I'm really excited about that. But that all really started. I've always wrote when I was young. You know, when I was 18 years of age, I used to write bits of comedy, send it into the BBC, and wrote little bits of things and bits and pieces. And then I sort of stopped, and I've been on and off and on and off. But then I sort of got back into it when the COVID virus happened. So I left here and went to the UK, and I was in a village in the Carlisle area, and I just wrote a poem about medical heroes and loaded it onto Facebook and things like that. And it done really, really well. So it sort of encouraged me to get back into writing. So nearly every week, I guess, I've sort of written a poem and put it up onto my channel. And then, so that's sort of where everything started. And that's birthed the books as well. So it's just, again, it's having that dream and that vision and seeing where it goes from there.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a good Christmas present as well. So the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree. So where can people get a copy?
Well, you can go onto Amazon. Amazon UK have it. They are saying that they're temporary out of stocks, but you can still order it. And I think it will be back in stock this week. So this next week. So maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm hoping it's going to be back in stock. So if anyone wants to get it, you can still actually pre-order it. And I wouldn't like to 100% guarantee, but I think you will get it before Christmas if you buy it on Amazon. It's on Olympia Publishers as well. So and you know, just put in the Trafalgar Square Christmas tree into Google, and you'll find it. you know. But Amazon's the best, probably the biggest place to actually go and find it. And like I say, you still be able to buy it there. There is Omega Publishers, um, Olympia, Olympia. There is Olympia Publishers where you can go on there and buy it from there. So it's the Trafalgar Square Christmas Tree by Paul Calvert.
So do you know when the second one? Do you know when the second one might be out?
Well, they seem to be moving quite fast on this, but maybe I think they might end up doing it faster than having it out in July. But I would ideally like it to come out in September-ish, ready for the Christmas market. This first one's been really, really late. And that's just because there's been problems and difficulties here and there along the line that it's ended up being much, much later than I would like. But I was pleased that at least when it's out there and you can pre-order it. It has came out. It came out last Thursday, but Thursday evening it said temporarily out of stock. So I was a little bit, what's going on? Have we sold so many that it's out of stock already, or is there a problem? So I think actually there's a problem, but that problem should hopefully be fixed by next week. But people can actually order now, click it and order it. So if anyone sounds like they want to order it, they can click on it now and order it now. So, and it's all, one thing we haven't said, it's all a poetic. It's a poetic story. It's all in rhyme as well. The Adventures of Evergreen the Christmas Tree.
So does does living in Bethlehem, would you say, would you say that that makes the Christmas story, come more alive for you, just being there in the place where Jesus was born?
I get more of a Christmas feeling outside of Bethlehem.
Right.
So, if you go into my own city of Carlisle, all the lights will be up, and every shop that you go in will be playing Christmas music and all this sort of stuff. So in that sense, I'll probably feel more Christmassy, but it is nice to actually be here in Bethlehem, the place where Jesus was born. And you can just go down the road, and we've got Bethlehem, which is the shepherd's fields. And they've got a traditional site where you can go in, and there's caves there where, they kept their sheep in the caves. You can't really see. There are a little bit of fields, but it's obviously built up now. But it gives you an idea. So living here gives you a little bit of idea of what it would be like. And we've got streets here, Star Street as well, King David Street, and Virgin Street, I think we've got as well. So, there's very much built on the whole nativity story and the Christmas story. And of course, if you wanted to, you could go further north and you could go to Nazareth and see Nazareth as well. So,
Have you been to Nazareth?
I have. I've been quite a few times, and they've got a big church there as well in Nazareth. So yeah, you do feel like you're living in the Bible when I'm going to Jerusalem today. I'll just nip down to Jericho. I'll just nip to Hebron. So it does sort of feel like, in one sense, that you are living in the Bible. And of course, living in Bethlehem is wonderful as well.
Yeah. And so, what does Christmas mean to you in terms of the story of Jesus?
Well, one of my traditions as well is to actually read the Christmas story over the Christmas period. And it's an exciting story. We're seeing a little bit of a corruption today about Jesus being a Palestinian, and people are jumping onto that and taking that. And you've really got to read your Bible and read your history. So for a starter, when did Palestine come about? It was about 138 AD. And it was Emperor Hadrian who changed everything. So he wanted to eradicate the presence of the Jews. So he changed the name to Syrian Palestina. That was after Jesus. So how can you say Jesus was a Palestinian? If you read the book of Luke tells you, that Jesus was from the line of David. So we know that he was from the line of David. And if you go to Matthew, and you read the story of Matthew, you can see that he tells you, it gives you the genealogy. It's not necessarily a full genealogy, but the genealogy is there, and it goes through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And if your family line goes through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're a Jew. So Jesus was a Jew. But what's really interesting, although Bethlehem is a Palestinian city, and many Palestinians want to claim that Jesus was a Palestinian. Not everybody, I've got to say. Not everybody says that Jesus was a Palestinian, but some do. The grotto where Jesus was born, right at that place where Jesus was born, you've got a 14-pointed star. Right at the place where Jesus was born. And that is crying out that Jesus was a Jew. So the question is, why is it 14 points on that star? Well, if we go back to the book of Matthew, Matthew says there are 14 generations from Adam to this person. Then there's another 14 generations from here to here. And then he says a third time, and then there's another 14 generations from here to Jesus Christ. Why does he keep talking about 14 generations? Well, in Hebrew, we have something called gematria, which is every letter of the alphabet has a number attached to it. So the letter D, for instance, has the number 4 attached to it. The letter V has the number 6 attached to it. So if you want to spell the name David, DVD, it adds up to 14. And what Matthew was trying to say, that Jesus was from the line of David. That's why he's using that 14 in the Bible, in the book of Matthew. And of course, the 14-pointed star right there is shouting out and declaring Jesus was a Jew. He wasn't a Palestinian. So when the Pope puts a keffiyeh around Jesus and try to give an impression that he's an Arab or anything like that, it's totally false. And, you know, we see the narrative that many people jump onto these things and jump onto these ideas. It is totally and completely false. And we have to read the Bible, read history. Because if you read the history, you'll get the truth. If you read the Bible, you'll get the truth. But people have an agenda. So you've got to be careful that you're not jumping onto people's agenda rather than actually getting the truth. It's important to get the truth. And that's not being political. That's not saying, oh, I love Israel and I hate the Palestinians. That is just truth.
Yeah.
The day.
So from their point of view, in what way are they giving evidence for claiming that Jesus was a Palestinian?
I don't know. And I don't really quite know exactly. I think they don't deny Jesus was a Jew, but they say he was a Palestinian. Now, so this is what I imagine, and I don't know whether I'm right in this. Today, Bethlehem is a Palestinian city. So if Jesus was born in Bethlehem today, he would be a Palestinian, which is obviously correct because it's a Palestinian city. So I think that's what they're trying to say. You know, we know that, you know, Muslims say that Jesus was a Muslim, that Adam was a Muslim, that Moses was a Muslim. Well, but Islam didn't exist until like 100, was it 500-600 years after Christ? So how can you say that? It doesn't make any sense. So I think that is what they're trying to bring out. A few years ago, someone declared that Jesus's family were Canaanite. So I think that goes. And I think again that's trying to take more of a claim to the land as well. So, but you know, they weren't Canaanites; they were Jews. Jesus was a Jew. Just read your Bible. If you read your Bible, you won't go far wrong.
Well, that's probably a good place to start. Read your Bible. A good read your Bible at Christmas time as well. Read the Christmas story from the Bible, like you say that you do, Paul, around Christmas time. So yeah, thanks for that. And a reminder, the book, the Trafalgar Square Christmas Tree. Yeah, do get hold of a copy. And thank you, Paul, very, very much for speaking to us today. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we finish?
What would be really nice is if people buy the book and they put that into their Christmas tradition. So every year they bring the book out and they read it to their children and they read it to their grandchildren as well, to have that real tradition. It's nice to have tradition around Christmas. So that's what I would hope, is my book would become a nice Christmas tradition over the Christmas period. And it doesn't take long to read either.
Yeah, no, that'd be really good. Well, thank you, Paul Calvert, for speaking to us today. Thank you.
Thank you.